Hello everyone, my name is Andre and this is going to be a first in a series of tutorial videos for the C++ programming language. In this first video, we're going to be going into the fundamentals of C++, how to start a new program, execute it, as well as type it out in the integrated development environment, which is called Dev C++. Without further ado, let's get right into it. A short introduction to C++. It is one of the most universally used programming languages in the world today. One of the reasons for this is because of its relatively high performance compared to other programming languages such as Java and Python, as well as its predecessors C and C#. Those last two may still be used to some degree today, but C++ is still arguably the most widely used in the technology industry today. The second reason is because of C++'s ability to interact seamlessly between a computer's software and hardware. C++ has many uses in the modern era of technology. For example, it has been used to build many iconic operating systems, the two most famous of which are Windows OS and Mac OS X. The second use is to build internet browsers such as Mozilla Firefox and Opera. Last but not least, C++ has also been used to design client-to-server applications such as Gmail and Microsoft Outlook. There are many more uses for C++ in this modern era of technology, but let's just cover those three for today. I will now get into how to download Dev C++, which is the IDE we're going to be using throughout our Programming for Engineers subject. As you can see, I am at a website called sourceforge.net, and we are going to be downloading version 5.10 of Dev C++. The reason we are not using the latest version, which is 5.11, is because 5.11, which was last released and updated in 2015, has still many bugs, most of which have still not been fixed. As a result, using version 5.11 might hinder you from doing your work properly, and hence we are going to be using version 5.10. To get to this link, I will leave the link in the description, or you may go ahead and search Dev C++ 5.10. There will be a long list of links, but we are going to focus on this one here, and you'll be presented with a list of various versions of C++. You're going to go to devcpp 5.10 tdm gcc 4.8.1 setup.exe, click it, go ahead and wait for the countdown to finish, choose the location, and it will start downloading. I already have the executable file downloaded in my downloads folder on my laptop, so I'm going to go ahead and open it and show to you guys. Give it the relative permissions, wait for it to unpack to 100%, select your language, agree to the end user license agreement, and choose full install in order to get all the features of Dev C++. I'm not going to click next as I already have Dev C++ installed on my laptop. Moving on to the Dev C++ Integrated Development Environment, or IDE, you can see that there are a lot of buttons and features that have been bundled in with this software. However, we are only going to focus on 3 of those many buttons. The first, as you can see, is a button which when pressed opens a panel. It is called the compile log, and it details errors that we'll face when compiling your program, your output file name and location, output size, and compilation time. The second button we're going to be focusing on is this button over here at the top, which looks like a Windows symbol except that it's in a closed square with an orange bar at the top. Hovering over it, you can see it displays the message compile and run, which has a shortcut to it actually. Once you are done typing your program, you can go ahead and press F11 in order to run your program. Normally, when you press this button, Dev C++ will automatically ask you to find a save location for your C++ file before it compiles and execute it. If you don't want to face this inconvenience at the end, you can go ahead and click the third button we're going to be focusing on. File, Save As, and choose a suitable location for you on your hard drive to save all your C++ coding files. After you do this, you will no longer need to find a save location every time you press compile and run. This button is also important when you want to start a new source file. A source file is basically a blank sheet for you where you can go ahead and type out your code and run it successfully. To open it, go ahead and click New, go to Source File, and click on it. I have several open on my screen here, but I'm just going to save this one over here. I'm going to give it the file name blah and save it in my folder of C++ files. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the 3 most important lines you will need to type when starting a C++ program of any kind. The first is called #include iostream. C++ is made up of a variety of header files. The one we have chosen is going to be used in all of our C++ programs that we are going to be typing from here on forth. The header file we have chosen, iostream, enables you to command your program to trigger an input and output. The second line we're going to be typing is called using namespace std or standard and closing it out with a semicolon. This line tells a program that from here on forth, any commands to do with input and output, for example, cout or cin, cout for output, cin for input, are to be referred to as the same variable every time. To put this into context, let me give you an example. In a class, you might have 2 people both named John. As a normal human being, you would be able to differentiate between those 2 Johns and be able to make friends with one of them and refer to the same person every time you see them at school every day. Unfortunately, a computer does not have the same level of intellect as a human, and hence, if you type cout or cin multiple times, even if you've already declared that the header file iostream should be included, the computer doesn't know whether this cout is going to be the same cout that you will refer to for the rest of the program. So let's say if you type cout again in your program, it will take these 2 commands as separate variables, not the same one. To make sure your program refers to cout and cin as the same variable every time as one command, you will need to include this line using namespace standard. The final line we have to include is called integer main double bracket curly braces. And before I continue into explaining what this means, I would like to touch on another feature of Dev C++, which is that it has many features which enables programmers to easily work around large amounts of code when they design programs. Some of these features include automatically closing brackets, being able to tell you the start and end of a particular bracket, different colors for different aspects of the code, such as header files, bolded for variables, purple for numbers, blue for output text, and many more. Back to integer main, basically what this line of code means is that this is going to be the main console where you're going to type command the program to give out input or give out output. An integer, or int for short, tells the main console to return those values every single time you run your program. For example, I'm just going to compile and run it, and because I haven't typed anything in the main console, it's just going to return to me nothing in the form of an executable file. That's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, and with that, I'll see you in the next video.